Another Republican, this one, you remember Chris Sununu, who is the governor of New Hampshire? Of course. He was a huge, huge advocate for Nikki Haley. You know, vote for Nikki Haley. You know, Trump is a goddamn bum, a thief, a liar, a crook, a sneak, you know, all of that. Well, on Sunday, on ABC's This Week with Judas Stephanopoulos, I call him Judas Stephanopoulos because of the way he stabbed his boss, Bill Clinton, in the back, way back in the 90s. But I digress again. But Sununu said on Sunday that he is going to support Donald Trump in the general election. Doesn't stand by all of the past criticisms of the orange bastard. What is it with these people? I thought Chris Sununu was rational. Every time I've seen him on television, I don't care for his political points of view on most of the stuff. He is a Republican, but it seems like he's slipped into the cult. I honest to God, don't get it. Anyway, he was asked over and over and over again by Judas Stephanopoulos about Sununu's previous statements attacking the former president. And Sununu, apparently he's just another white, male, Christian weasel. He said he stood by his 2021 denunciation of Trump over January 6th, just like all these slimy bastards do, but said he no longer believes that Trump should leave the race if he's convicted in any one of the 4 criminal cases, which contain 91 felony counts. So Sununu is saying, fuck it. You know, if he's a convicted felon, I'm still going to support him. Aren't you going to support him too, America? Convicted felon. Who gives a rat's ass? He's our boy. Yeah. What's wrong with these people? In a June interview with CNN last year in 2023, when several Republicans were trying to get the primary nomination against Trump, that's when Sununu said that Trump should drop out of the race if convicted of any of the charges he faces. That's what Sununu said. But as the saying goes, that was then, this is now. So here we are almost a year later, and Sununu shows what every single conservative in this country in political office seems to deal with, this dichotomy, this schizophrenia in their brains that, yes, Trump is a fucking thug and a thief and a liar and a criminal and a rapist and a bum and couldn't find his ass with both hands in a roadmap. Yes, all of that's true, but I'm still going to vote for him. I still want to see him as head of this government. I still want to see him decide not to leave office if he's ever defeated again. So for the 10,497,806 times, what is wrong with these people? I mean, Trump is such a disgusting figure to begin with. But given his record, not just as a so-called politician, but his record of his lying, filthy business, his grift, his con artistry, his deceit, what is it that attracts members of the Republican Party? I mean, Susan Collins, for heaven's sake, why doesn't Susan Collins was the one who said that she was going to vote no for conviction of Donald Trump the first time because he would have learned his lesson. Well, Senator Susan, you're still going to support him, though, aren't you? I mean, after 2 impeachments, 91 felony charges, he's on trial in New York, even as we speak. But Senator Collins and Mittens Romney and Sununu, people that I had thought, well, maybe not Mitt Romney, but people I had thought had a bit of decency, a bit of respect for the Constitution, a bit of disdain, more than a bit of disdain for a rapist, a con artist, a liar, a thief, a cheat, someone who tried to overthrow the government of the United States. But apparently I was wrong. I was wrong. Now, at the time of that interview in 2023, when all these Republicans, or when Sununu said that Trump should drop out, he had just been indicted over his, the documents case down in Florida. The classified documents that he would show around to his party of millionaires and billionaires in the Winter Palace at Mar-a-Lago. He would say, look what I got. Look, I got war plans for Iran. Do you know I was going to invade Iran? Look at this. Look at this. And God only knows how much of the shit he shared with the Russians. I, frankly, and I said this before, I think he shared everything that was pertinent to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I think he shared it with the Russians. He let them know. Trump is an agent of the Russian government, the fascist Russian government, Putin. Why doesn't somebody identify him as that? Somebody other than your humble and obedient servant here. Oh, well. Anyway, he, at the time the interview was that Sununu had back in June a year ago, he already had been indicted in the New York election interference case that's on trial now, the jury selection now. I just can't call it a hush money case. That's such bullshit journalistic shorthand. It's not hush money, goddammit. It was election interference, fraud, deception. And since then, Trump has been indicted 2 more times in the federal case related to the January 6th attempt to destroy the government, and the case here in Georgia over his behavior when he was trying to overturn the 2020 election here in Georgia. So, since Sununu said that Trump should drop out of the presidential race, okay, he said if convicted, but since then, there have been all these other indictments against him, these felony charges. And now Sununu stands there with his bare face hanging out saying, oh, well, of course, yes, I'm going to vote for him, as is 51% of America, which is bullshit. 51% of America is not going to vote for this orange rat. But poor old Judah Stephanopoulos, I pushed to Sununu as far as he could, and then he just kind of backed off. Stephanopoulos said, quote, previously, you've said these charges are serious and Trump should drop out of the race if he's convicted. Do you still believe that? That was the question. And at first, barefaced Sununu said that Trump's legal issues were the very, and he used this word several times, chaos that he had challenged during the primary season when he was backing Nikki Haley. I mean, Mr. Sununu, may I call you Chris? Okay, what? No, I'm going to call you Chris anyway. Well, Chris, the chaos has only increased since then. So Stephanopoulos kept asking, if you've heard this audio, good God, Stephanopoulos, I think he asked him 5 or 6 times. And Sununu finally said he no longer thinks Trump should end his campaign if he's convicted. He said, quote, no, he's going to drop out after being the nominee? Of course not. That's not to be expected at all. And at the end of the day, people want that culture change within the Republican Party. And if we have to have Trump as a standard bearer, and the voters decided that's what they wanted, not what I wanted, if he's going to be a standard bearer of that, we'll take it if we have to. That's how badly American wants a culture change, end quote. That's another thing that just drives me to fucking distraction. We had 4 years of Trump. We know, we had a preview of what this unconscionable prick would do. Now, granted, there were all kinds of, guardrails in place the first 4 years that he served. And none of those guardrails are going to be there anymore. Trump learned. Trump is like a rat that's put in a maze and expected to go for a piece of cheese. And when the rat makes the wrong turn, he gets a shock until finally the rat learns how to get through the maze. Well, that's what Trump has learned. Trump was like that rat. He is a rat in the maze. And he knew who he had to get rid of. Well, I got to get rid of this guy as Secretary of State. Got to get rid of that one as the Ambassador UN. Got to get rid of that as Secretary of Defense. Got to get rid of the entire leadership of the Justice Department. Got to get rid of the EPA. Got to get rid of all the little electric shocks that the son of a bitch got the first 4 years. He has learned. Like any rat learns, Trump has learned. And when Sununu says America wants a culture change, what the hell is he talking about? A culture change? Yeah, I want a culture change too, Chris. What I'd like to see is all of you corrupt fuckers who believe in the cult of Donald Trump would just goddamn go get a job, go work in the auto industry, go become an airline pilot, go learn how to deep sea dive for sponges. But for Christ's sake, get out of government. That's the kind of culture change I'd like to see. Do I want to see the Republican Party die? Look, it's already dead. It's a rotting corpse covered in squiggly things that are eating away at the corpse. The Christian Fascist Party, that's the one I want to see just implode. I'd like to see it collapse in a pillar of blood and gore and disappear. And the Republican Party come back. You know, I honestly believe that we need a two-party system. Well, I think we need a parliamentary system, but that's just me, and we'll never have it. So the two-party system. But is it asking too much that both parties be run by decent, honorable people who tell the truth? Is that too much? Has the United States of America and the population therein become so goddamn corrupt and misdirected and fucked up that we don't care about our leadership? Well, a lot of signs point to that, don't they? And if those signs are correct, well, remember what Franklin said, or I think he said it, who knows? But, we've given you a republic. Let's see if you can keep it. Or whatever he said. The implication being by Ben Franklin after the Constitution, or not the Constitution, but after the Constitutional Convention, I guess that's what it was, 1791, whatever that was. When Franklin said, more or less, this is what we've given you. We've given you a good form of government, unique in the world. Can you keep it? And this orange filth, this degenerate bastard Trump, is on the verge of proving that we can't keep it. Why are we allowing one person and his cult to do this to America? We're not perfect. Fuck, man. I mean, we are so far from perfect as to almost lose sight of what perfect is. But do we have to let go of even our attempts to reach justice under the law, equal justice, equal opportunity? I mean, have we given up on that? Sometimes it seems to me that's exactly what we've done. We can't. God damn it, we can't. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.